And stakeholders in the renewable energy industry have highlighted the importance of reducing carbon emission in some key areas such as cooking, oil and gas sector in terms of gas flaring, the power sector amongst others. Now this was made known during a stakeholders dialogue session on the Nigeria's energy transition plan held in Abuja recently. There's more on the story.
Following the just concluded United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, where world leaders including Nigeria and the Nigerian government discussed the impacts of climate change and its energy transition plan.
If you look at our total greenhouse gas emissions, right, our thesis is reflective of the fact that nearly 65% of the total greenhouse gas emissions are related to energy consumption and industrial processes. Okay, so that is a good place to start. And I think most of the stakeholders we have here are kind of related to this space. So we are identifying as our biggest source of emissions as a basis for developing the plan. Now, within energy consumption, right, the most actionable subsectors are related to power and clean cooking. Okay, the two most actionable subsectors are related to power and clean cooking. So in fact, the power sector represents the largest individual source of emissions, particularly because of generators and diesel-powered self-generation.
We reduce carbon footprint. So what the plan has done is to identify the key areas where we currently have high emissions, as in Nigeria, the area of cooking. We all know that, I don't need to explain. You know what is happening across different rural villages. I don't want us to get carried away thinking it's about the cooking that is happening in Abuja Central. So the plan wants to talk about the oil and gas sector. I want to salute Nigeria for moving first on the commercialization right now of gas flaring. You know, it's one of the good steps in the right direction. So from the oil and gas sector, we have gas flaring happening. Of course, we know what is happening with diesel. We know what's happening with all the dirty fossil fuel. So the transition plan is also talking to us about how do we eradicate this, not from day one. And that is why it is transition.
Other speakers at the session stressed on the need for an inclusive campaign for both local and foreign partners. They further said it is very important to implement all recommendations from this session, as this will help in the transition plan.
We are grateful that Nigeria is leading the way on the energy transition, and we believe that this step that Nigeria has taken is also an eye-opener for other countries as well. And given that we are a global association, we must commend the country on the steps that you've made on this path at alleviating and addressing climate change. So we understand that it will take a massive lift to implement this energy transition plan. And though I'm here speaking for the solar sector, the renewable energy sector, I understand that this plan covers all facets of the economy and the industry.
We would all agree that overall it is a necessary, bold and ambitious package of measures that, if implemented, would make a significant contribution to tackle energy poverty in the country and help to put Nigeria on a pathway towards its ambition to reach net zero by 2060. As much as we all would understand the necessity for international partnership and investment to make the ETP happen, some relevant stakeholders in Nigeria felt somewhat left out of the process so far. Left out during the development of the plan and not very well informed about the concrete steps taken and to be taken to move the implementation forward. To take local stakeholders along with the plan is as important as rallying the international support needed to make it happen.
As stakeholders and actors in the industry gathered here today, both physically and those joining us virtually, the responsibility before us is daunting because we must support the government and each other to realize this plan. Like someone said, the plan might just end up being an academic book or academic work if it's not actionable, if it is not driven, if it's not implementable. So I believe that we must all look at the Nigerian ETP from the lens of what manpower and capacity we have or need to develop to realistically effect the change that can really affect the lives of an average Nigerian.
The Energy Transition Plan has been described as a welcome blueprint to help connect our natural resources and utilize them to improve the accessibility to electricity, combat climate change, and make clean energy available to a greater population of Nigerians. Adeniyi Francis, reporting for KAFTAN News, Abuja.